Where'd you get the meat from?
But that'd be telling. A girl's gotta have some secrets.
Very unusual. You don't know what you're missing out on being a vegetarian.
Oh, but I do. I'm just happy you enjoyed it so much.
Sure did. So, what do we do now?
What we do now is we say goodnight, and you go back to your room.
Are you sure? I mean, we've got the whole night ahead of us.
Lex, just be grateful for what you've had.
I am.
So good night then.
So, welcome to Series 2, Episode 40 of Conversation on Legal Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And Maggie.
Hi.
We have episode notes done by Matt and myself. So, Series 2, Episode 40, the screenplay was done by Anthony Reed. It was directed by Julian McSweeney, and the episode synopsis read out by Liz.
Are jubilant after Ellie prints Wolf's story about the end of The Chosen. Bray agrees to host Casey's rat race, but the event is thrown into disarray when the favorite to win goes missing, and both Jack and Tysan are struck by jealousy.
Okay, so Alice is concerned when she realizes that Lex's bed hasn't been slept in and goes to Tysan, who has to lie and say she doesn't know where Lex was to cover up the fact that she and Lex have slept together again. Tysan later asks Lex what they're going to do about Alice, and he insists that they continue to see each other in the meantime. So yeah, panel, we have talked about the situation going on between these three characters before, but let's focus on that last bit for this conversation. What do you make of Lex's kind of demands that they should still see each other despite the fact that they haven't spoken to Alice?
Sense for Lex, he has found something that has made him feel good and happy for the real first time since losing Zandra. Even though he didn't love Zandra, she was important to him and he still grieved her. And he's like, wow, life has started again for me. I don't want to lose this. Makes sense to me that Lex would be like, we can't stop what we're doing. I don't want to lose this, regardless of who's going to get hurt, and be so insistent about that. Not saying it's right, but it just does make sense that he would be like, whatever happens, we need to continue this. I really like this. I really enjoy this. I found something special. I don't want to lose this. We'll figure out the Alice thing, but I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
Again, not right, but I get it.
Me too.
Liz, how do you do it? At first I was just thinking, oh, well, it's Lex. Of course he's gonna, go for that option. My head was still thinking, well, Lex should have shown more consideration, but yeah, you're kind of making it seem more sensible.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right. It's wrong what he and Tysan are doing, but I'm just trying to understand why his focus would be on continuing the relationship and disregarding his friend who's going to be hurt by it, rather than prioritizing fixing the thing with Alice. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't think he should be doing that, but
I agree. I just never really considered it from Lex's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And who really considers Lex's feelings? Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, Sabine, because I had the same thought. Initially, I was like, oh, Lex. But then hearing Liz's explanation, like, actually, you know what? That's true. He doesn't want to let this go. This is really important. And he's like, yeah, I get what you mean.
Yep. And the feelings are so genuine, It's not some fleeting thing. We know that this is real. So
jumping ahead of it, that like little kiss in the marketplace, that's when I felt it was quite real. I was like,
it's adorable.
Yeah, it's actually kind of adorable.
I loved it.
It's adorable. It's very, very cute. It just annoyed me that they would not talk to Alice and then do that where people could see them.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And it sucks because Alice is going to get hurt, And no matter what happens, she's going to get hurt in this situation because we're too far into it.
Yeah, but it's just, especially doing that out in the open.
Oh, yeah.
Before they've told her. I mean, this is a whole mall filled with teenagers who love nothing more than to gossip.
It's more convincing than all the scenes where they try to convince us that Danny and Bray are so lost in each other.
Yes.
Fair enough.
again, because I was like, what are you guys doing? Anybody could see you.
Mhm.
But it's like, did a good job and convinced me that they're just so lost in the glimmer of what they've just discovered that they're not thinking
Yeah.
beyond that. They don't, you know what I mean? In that moment, all he sees is her. All she sees is him in that moment. And even though it's dumb,
Yeah.
like, what are you, Ned Fulmer? Like, geez. But seriously, guys. But it does, I think they did a better job in convincing me that these two are just so lost in themselves in this moment that they completely forget they could be seen by anybody.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
I also like the what's the word? The parallel of him offering her the apple, like he has a joke, and then she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then he offers the apple, and he feeds her a bite, and it's when you parallel that to him to giving her the creamed rice in season 1. And the only reason he held that back to give to her is so he could have sex with her. But this time he simply does it as a playful moment with his paramour.
Yes. And that little grin, like I was like, I can't, it's too cute, you know? I'm going to throw up. Thank you.
I hate it that I'm like stuck between like enjoying these moments with them and then still being upset with the two of them because of what they're doing, screwing somebody over. And it's like, just deal with Alice, you guys.
It's not that hard. You better do it now, you know?
It's adorable to see, but just from Alice's point of view, I want to strangle them.
Yeah.
Guys,
there's definitely two sides here.
Yeah, I want to be 100% on board with this, but I cannot until you deal with Alice.
Yes. Yes. Once you deal with Alice, I'm like, let's go. Let's go. You know?
But they still do a great job in making you root for them despite what they're doing, because we've seen later they don't do such a good job with this very same scenario of painting two people who are so in love with each other they can't resist and they're screwing over another person, and we don't feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
Nope.
We just hate them with every fiber of our being.
Hate them.
I won't name names.
There's quite a few actually, but
yes.
My brain was going, well, which ones is she going for? Because that could be quite a few.
Quite a few.
Next season 5.
And wow, now you're making me think of the parallels between Lex and Tyson and Alice and Amber, Trudy, and Jay.
That's what I had in mind.
That's
what they're trying to do in that.
I know.
The second one, they're trying to make us think, well, Jay and Amber are just so in love, and we're supposed to root for that love despite what's happening to Trudy, and we're supposed to feel bad for Jay and Amber for hurting Trudy. And it's like the writing is so bad that that's not what happens.
Yeah.
No, it just makes me hate both of them.
You know, the same with Luke, Ellie, and Jack. I'm sorry to say it. You know?
Yeah, that was my other fault.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here they do a very good job of convincing us that Lex and Tyson genuinely are falling in love.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's not wrong, but
I think it's beautiful, but
got to make things right with Alice.
Yes.
Yeah. In Lex's defense, when being compared to Jay, at least Lex didn't sleep with Alice.
That's true. That is true. You know? But he still didn't.
Yeah.
He still hasn't done.
Yeah, I know, but he was less wrong in this than Jay.
In Lex's defense, and he's actually in love and actually doesn't want to hurt somebody.
Yeah. But he also doesn't want to be hurt.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why he, you know, like you said, he's holding on to this, you know, wants to hold on to Tyson and not because he doesn't want to be hurt as well.
Oh, you guys make me why make me 5?
It's all right. What, like a half a season ago, I hated Tyson. So
yeah.
And now I'm like, okay.
Sorry, these parallels are important when, you know, when people ask, like, why don't you like seasons 4 or 5? And it's like, it's the writing. And so when the parallels come up, I can't help but point them out. This is an example of good writing. And that's an example of bad writing. And that's why I don't like that thing.
See, you reminded me, like, there was some good in it. Like Amber didn't want to be hurt by this guy who had taken away someone she loved, and it started off good, and then you ruined it.
Ruined.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I could appreciate the part of her not wanting him for that reason. She
Yeah.
just should have stuck with her principles for once in a while. We don't talk about that.
We'll come to it at some point.
Oh,
But no,
boy.
you are absolutely right, Liz. These parallels are important because when you mentioned it before, we look at the Tysan and Lex and the love story that's going on there. You look at Bray and Danny, and you just think this is just so poorly written and scripted, and it's just unbelievable. I don't feel anything between the two of them at all, not one bit.
Yeah. I don't know why. No, it served its purpose. You know what I mean? And I think we're getting close to that point where it doesn't matter anymore. I just don't like
think
it.
it was worth the purpose. Like we've had episode 40 now, season 2. I don't think it was worth it. That's this journey to put Bray through. It wasn't worth it. was it
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Like,
Remember magic,
Yeah.
private parts.
40 episodes to get to this point.
She cured
to get
him.
Bray to be more of his old self. It's not been worth it.
When I think about Bray's journey, and of course we've all speculated on how was Danny always meant to be there? Was Danny just a side character alongside Amber? On and on. We've gone on and on. And of course, you have to sit there and do the what if. If Amber had been there, how much of the storylines would have been altered? And at the end of the day, I feel like the biggest change was because Amber wasn't there to take on the storyline. Let's say, yes, she had the virus storyline. They had to make these changes to introduce Danny. And I feel like what happened when they did that to introduce Danny, to make her important, was they gave Bray a backseat. I don't think Bray was meant to have the backseat he had in the original storyline when Amber was supposed to be there. I think him and Amber were meant to be more of a team. And but because Amber would have been she was an established character, so they wouldn't have had to do anything to make her front and center. But Danny was new. They had to make her front and center. They had to make her someone that would stand next to Bray and have this voice. So in order for that to happen, it looks like Bray just took this back seat for half the season. And all we can say is, I guess he was grieving the whole time. And then, of course, once they had finished that curve and got Danny back where Amber was supposed to be, Bray comes right back up to the fore, and Danny ends up taking this back seat. And it's so noticeable to us that we're like, what was the point of Bray's journey? Why did you take him on this trip? Whereas I don't think that would have happened if it had been Amber taking that storyline. I don't think Bray would have ended up in the back seat with Amber driving the whole time.
Yeah.
And his journey would have made way more sense because it's a journey he and Amber would have taken together.
Yeah.
But they had to waste so much of season 2 for Danny to have an impact. And it is a waste since they simply throw her away afterward. But I don't know if that was what they were planning on when they first, brought her on. They probably were going to do something with her. But I really wish I knew what happened.
Yeah, because I still think it could have been that, yes, Amber was supposed to have some of the storyline, like the Bill of Rights, for example, but then it would have had actual wars in it. And that, even if Danny had this storyline of, her father and the virus, it would have been handled so much differently if she had not been thrown in there as, basically the rebound girl for Gray to get over Amber after she was presumably gone.
Yeah, I think that's their big mistake, making her his love interest.
Yes.
Because she could have been a nice character if she didn't have that part.
Yeah.
If she didn't have to be the one to sleep with Bray to get him focused again.
Yeah.
It's
if it hadn't been so blatantly obvious that that's what she was there for. Like even if it would have like happened later in the show where it was like, oh, okay, like an actual freaking build up to it, instead, because we knew from the first episode, okay, this is what she's gonna do. This is her spot in the in the show. This is her spot. And that's unfortunate because I would have liked to have liked her.
It would have been nice if they'd surprised us by them two not getting together.
Yeah.
Or that too. Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I assumed she was here to replace Amber with Bray and they don't hook up. That would have been great. She's just a platonic friend that he meets who helps support him through his grief process. that would have been
That's
cool.
not how it works.
Yeah.
But
You know?
they just throw them together, and you're like, yeah, I saw that coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have appreciated being surprised by that not
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Bray falling for her because she made him feel alive, and Danny being like, sorry, dude, I don't feel that way about you, or something.
Yeah.
Or Danny helping Bray realize, dude, you're just imprinting on me because you're still heartbroken. You're still
Right.
grieving.
And I feel like she is that smart, she is to understand that that's what happened. But she's young, she's young and she's blinded by it, and he's a handsome boy, pretty face, doesn't wear a shirt,
And he doesn't hold her father's
right.
actions against her.
Well, yeah, because Zoot's his brother.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't expect people to not judge her for that. She assumed everyone would hate her for what her father did,
I would have.
because she hates, herself and her
Yeah.
father for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Having Bray and Danny fall in love, which on the surface, there's nothing wrong with that. In general, it's nothing wrong with that. It's when you put it into context is where it becomes a problem. I feel like it devalues what Danny could have been. She loses her value as a character, as someone who actually had a point to existing, when you just reduce her to Bray's rebound.
Yeah.
When she just becomes the girl who came in, replaced Amber, and then is easily forgotten by Bray. She loses all the value she could have had if they had just nixed that love story. Then she could have had the value of being this person that they wanted her to be, but they stripped it of her.
Heck, even if they would have had to make her his love interest, it would have been nice if they waited like at least half a season for that.
Or at least have Bray care about it in season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have him have a moral quandary over trying to find the woman he fell in love with, and realizing Amber's alive. And of course, I still love her. I never stopped. I just, I buried her,
But even before they find Amber, it's like he's forgotten that, end of last season, he lost the woman he loved. End of this season, he lost the woman he claims he loved. It's like he just does not seem to care.
The writers really did a terrible job.
Yeah. And then they
No
take all of Danny's accomplishments for all the things I don't like about Danny. You can't ignore the fact that she did exist and she accomplished a lot in season 2. And by having not just having Bray forget she existed, but basically having everyone forget she existed, then reclaiming all her accomplishments and giving them to Amber is like the biggest kick in the teeth. As much as I love Amber, as much as I love her, and I will pom cheer for season 1 Amber all day long. It was not right. It has never been right that Amber gets to claim Danny's accomplishments.
This is what gets me. I don't know if that's the writers. They hated Danny so much that they gave all the accomplishments that she did to Amber, or if because it was meant to be the season 2 Amber storyline. I'm not sure which it is, but they were determined to give it all to Amber.
And it's like, I'm like, wow, that was just the wrongest wrong that ever wronged.
The only consistency there is that, Bray looks at a girl and he forgets he just lost one. I mean, he saw Danny, you forgot about all the issues with Amber, that she was gone. He sees Amber again and he forgets about Danny. Makes me wonder what would have happened in season 4.
Bray isn't given a grief journey the way Lex is the biggest convincing factor that Amber, this was her storyline. Because they didn't write in a grief story for Bray. She wasn't supposed to die. This girl, Danny, was supposed to be Amber. So there's no grief process for Bray because it was never written in. He wasn't supposed to be grieving. Where Lex, it's completely intact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wrote it. It was all there. None of it was lost. But with Bray, it's not there. It's almost non-existent.
No one even really calls him out on it. No one tells him it's okay to grieve. It's okay. He has that tiny moment with Celine, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's like they squeezed in a couple moments to be like, oh, we should probably write him grieving because Amber's dead now. But it was never meant to be a part of his storyline. So there's so little evidence that he's grieving her,
Don't cry, sweetheart.
It's only a game. It's not worth breaking your heart over.
It's not just the race.
What then?
I don't have a friend anymore. Nobody cares.
You've got Cloudy. And Casey. What about Casey?
Casey doesn't care about anybody except himself.
You've got me and Ryan.
But what about when you guys aren't around anymore? What if something should happen to you? What would I do then?
Okay, so Chloe is frustrated that everybody else is oblivious to Trudy's odd behavior. So Celine and Ryan try to cheer her up by finding a rat for her to enter into Casey's race. When Ryan initially can't find one, Celine is surprised at how upset Chloe gets. But Chloe later explains it's not about the rat, it's about that she no longer has any friends. So panel, what do you make about Chloe's situation? The feeling that she doesn't believe anyone believes her about Trudy and that she's all on her own.
Kid. This poor kid.
Yeah, I feel so bad for her. My heart breaks for her because to feel so alone, and it almost makes you feel like you're going a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for her a lot.
That girl's just constantly, people are telling her she's wrong, and it's just, poor little thing.
Yeah, and she's so very right.
Even when they're comforting her, none of them are actually trying to find out why she feels the way she does about Trudy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just keep trying to, smoke screen her. Again, I get it. They're doing it out of love. They're misguided, but it is coming from a loving place. But I think it's worse to be gaslit by people who love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to shame Celine's behavior in this. She's trying to be very supportive of Chloe, but she's missing the one element. Chloe, why do you feel this way about Trudy? What is Trudy doing that has you feeling this way? Talk to me. Tell me why you feel this way. Instead of saying, sweetie, you just have to excuse whatever Trudy's doing and we have to be patient with her. Why don't you find out why Chloe feels this way, And I feel so bad for this kid. And that sense that she has no security, as she's saying, what happens to me if something happens to you? You guys are getting along now. You're happy couples now. But what happens when you fight again and you completely forget I exist again? What happens to me? Who will be there for me? And she doesn't want to go back to that place where she was a singular unit surviving on her own.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do that again. Like, what happened?
Because she finally had someone in Patsy, an actual peer, someone, a friend that, she assumed they'd grow old together, that sort of feeling. But from Celine's point of view, I don't think she ever thought it was about Trudy's behavior. I think they always, the older kids just assumed that Chloe was jealous because Trudy was taking Patsy's time. And I think that's how everyone probably interpreted it.
No, they definitely did. But that's where, Liz, says they didn't actually try to find out. They just told her.
They assumed.
Told her what her issue was.
Yeah, they made assumptions.
And she was just like, they're not going to believe me anyway. And that's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, Celine doesn't even have an answer when Chloe asks her, when she's telling her how she feels about not having a friend anymore. And, Celine's like, well, you still have me and Ryan. And she goes, yeah, but what happens to me if something happens to you? Celine doesn't even have an answer for her. Which, again, I understand why she doesn't, but it's just, that's so frightening. I can't imagine being like 11 years old and these are the people I depend on. You've already let me down. Like, at least when I had Patsy, we could look at each other and say mom and dad are crazy. But now I don't even have that. What happens when mom and dad decide to go through another separation? Like, where am I? Where does that leave me? I have a dog. Mom just told me I have a dog.
Yeah, and let's get you a rat.
And it sucks so much. I feel so bad. And, this girl, you go. She was like, this is my turn to shine and put on the tears. Bravo, sweetie. You nailed it. It did remind me, though, of being a parent and you don't have any answers when your kids are asking you the hard questions. And so you're doing everything you can to give them some security, some reassurance. And, so the desperation of Ryan, trying to get her that rat. I can't answer these questions. I can't make things better. I can't make Patsy be her friend again. I can't patch things up with her and, Trudy, whatever's going on there. I can't even promise that me and my girlfriend are going to get along for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Get her a rat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to get her a rat. Do you see his face? He looks like he was crawling through that barn for that rat.
He probably was.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm going to get my little girl a rat.
Mhm.
Such a good dad, Ryan.
He is.
Yep.
Oh, you guys just reminded me of something. I was actually surprised that, sorry, going back a bit, that no one took offense to the mall rats winning the rat race.
Dude, for real. That's what Josh said. Josh goes, and of course, a mall rat won.
I think that might have been because Lex had already called off all bets, so there was nothing to win there.
True.
But still.
Chloe was a late entry. She's an
Yeah.
unassuming party. She's just a little girl. She just barely got in the race. I think if Casey had won, people would have been much more suspicious, especially since all the other rats weren't doing anything. But since
Yeah, all
Chloe
the
showed
rats
up,
were dead practically.
right? I think Sabine's right. There was nothing to lose at that point. You know what I mean?
They still betted. Afterwards, the bet went ahead.
Yeah, but no one bet on her rat, so she had not. I don't think she had anything to get from it. Again, I don't know how the bets work. I don't gamble.
I mean,
so.
as soon as none of the other rats moved, you would
They should
think
have
that
flipped out,
someone would be like, hey. And then when someone
Hey,
did realize it was suspicious, they still didn't actually say anything.
be like,
So,
hold on the dance competition. You
I
run
mean-
the rat race. Hold on.
right, you know, and Bray even asked Casey, where'd you get those water bottles?
Mm.
Bruh, you knew exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Come
weird,
on.
but I kind of wonder. Now, I'm just going to straight up say it. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. But if I were going to try and tie myself into knots to make sense of it, maybe it's because this was such a spur of the moment thing. I mean, they literally put it together in a couple hours because there wasn't going to be a rat race when Casey first wanted one. Ebony was like, no, I'm in charge of security of the city. We're not having one. So anyone who might have been majorly invested in the rat race, it didn't happen. And then out of nowhere, just balmy Wednesday afternoon, you know, some kid goes, we're having a rat race. If you can find a rat, come and be there in 2 hours. So I feel like the competitors weren't really that invested. And maybe that's why it wasn't that big of a deal for most people. It was just a bit of fun in the afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was the wait list.
Whereas, for example, with a party that was planned, people were invested. People probably practiced for that dance competition. They wanted that petrol. We knew what was on the line. And people were really pissed off at the mall rats.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Rightfully so.
Maybe, just maybe, it's just because it was like a spur of the moment thing that you decided to do because you weren't busy at 3:00 and you didn't really care. How many people have had these rats laying around? And like, I'll just grab a rat and go to the rat race.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah.
Kudos to Alice, though. She put together a fantastic obstacle course
did.
with only a couple of hours and no warning.
She's crafty.
Yeah.
She just had that lying around, apparently. Like, oh, Alice.
Well, they do have a pet store, so.
I know, but still, she still had to put it together.
This thing is incredible. I'm just curious. I'm just amazed at how many kids in this city keep rats as a pet.
Yeah.
And they're so docile. Nobody's getting bit by these things.
Well, they could, you know, Ryan couldn't find one in the sewers. What if they were sneaking down there during market and catching rats?
Probably.
I mean,
Yeah, probably during all the work rota stuff, they probably got them to clean it out.
Rats for everyone.
Rats. And you get your antidote. Grab a rat and get an antidote.
One poor little rat was murdered. Ugh.
Oh, poor Lex.
Poor Lex.
Poor
I'm
Lex.
so sorry. This is for you, Lex.
Oh.
I'm pouring one out for that little rat. He didn't deserve it.
He didn't.
Okay, let's bring this right down because we're going to have to talk about the other opposite side of this. So, thanks to Casey drugging the other entrants, Chloe's rat Ray does win the race. But in the ensuing excitement, Celine gushes about what Ryan has done for Chloe and tells him she loves him. And he replies by asking her to marry him. So, yeah, go ahead, panel.
My first words. Oh, Ryan. Like, oh man. Someone else go.
No, you mentioned a bucket earlier. I needed it for this.
I'll just sum it up. Someone made a comment and just said, Ryan, baby steps. You just got this woman to start liking you again.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Baby steps.
But that reminds me of him wanting the baby, though.
It just gets us back to the fact that Ryan is still not secure in this relationship. And of course he's not. He has every reason to be insecure in this relationship. He and Celine have not actually resolved their issues. And he's still just desperate to lock it down.
Yep.
That security of knowing that I have this thing. And she's saying she's gushing with love for him. And he just gets caught up in it. And he's just like, if I can secure this milestone of what it is to be in a relationship, I won't have to worry about me and Celine anymore. Because we'll have this on lock. That's, a very immature way of thinking. But most of us go through our lives thinking that we need to hit certain milestones for our relationships to be real. And so that's what we do. We're just like, even if our relationship is completely unhealthy, we'll be like, but we had the milestone. So we're obviously doing it right.
Yep.
Oh, it's cringe though. The cringe is real. You can literally see her face just melt off her skull.
Yeah.
She was like, why'd you have to ruin this?
Wow.
Oh, Ryan.
Oh, Ryan.
Felt her too. Because I love my boyfriend. We've been together for a couple years. But if he did this to me, I'd have the same reaction. We've talked about this. I'm not ready for that. I would react the same way Celine did. I gotta go. I gotta
go pee. Sorry.
I gotta go pee.
I mean, it could have been worse. They didn't get a ring.
It's a spur of the moment thing. He's just so thrilled. She's happy with him. She's just like, I love you, Ryan. You're a shining star. She's so thrilled. And he's like, oh my gosh. She just made him light up with her approval, which is all Ryan wants from this woman is her approval. And he's just like, I think I've got the golden ticket. And she's like, there's no chocolate factory, dude. Seriously.
She's happy. She might say yes. Quick, get her to say yes while she's not thinking straight.
Pretty much. And from that moment on, you just know, his enthusiastic, spur of the moment proposal, the expression on her face, that's it. There's no hope for this. It's downhill from here.
Doom.
So sad. It's so sad. It's like rooting for your team. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, he's gonna make it home. And then he trips over his shoelaces and you're just like, game over. It's over.
Yep.
Let's get to the car before we can beat traffic. Let's just go.
People are like, I love seeing Ryan. I'm like, how? Point to all these points. I was like, how do you like them together?
I'll never understand.
I've never understood that. Sorry.
I will say, as much as I don't care for Ryan and Celine, and I will not defend them anymore, I do see the appeal. People are looking at the moments when they're at their best, and they're ignoring everything else. Look at them in the barn trying to help Chloe. In that moment, if you ignore everything else, they are couples goals. They have these beautiful moments, but that's all they are. They're just the postcards of a relationship, not actual destination, the place you actually visited. And, they're the Instagram of couples. It looks really sweet in the moments when it's working, but when the camera's off, they're a hot mess. You should not be emulating this.
Yep.
No.
And the actors have good chemistry, they look good together. They act their scenes really well together. So I get the appeal, but I can't root for them. It's like people who ship, Severus Snape and Harry Potter.
Oh my God.
They ignore the reality. It's just
absolutely.
But what if they could be amazing together?
No, just no.
No.
That's just wrong on several different levels.
Oh, that ship is hard, you guys.
I know.
This is why I don't read fan fiction.
I ignore it.
There are some realities that are more easier to imagine than others.
Oh man, I'm good.
I suppose if you really like a ship enough, you can make it work in your mind, I mean, that's the fun part of shipping.
Fair enough.
exactly what Ryan's doing. Celine.
I mean, for some reason, I managed to ship Trudy and Jack, so yeah. But at least their relationship wasn't like this.
Trying to defend you, Ryan and Selena Shippers. I hope you appreciate the effort.
Yeah, it's okay, yeah.
I'm trying.
It takes effort to defend them, though.
I'm not defending that relationship anymore, but
Nope, that is done.
it's done.
I need you guys to write in because there's a scene coming up soon. I need you all to write in and tell me why you love this couple so much because there's a scene coming up.
Yes, we need to know.
I am going to go ballistic, I'm afraid. So please tell me why you like this couple.
Because we need answers to this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to let rip when this scene happens, but yeah.
Good night. And thanks. It was very delicious.
So trying to avoid Alice, Lex ends up asking to see Trudy, who tells him she forgives him for what happened on the beach, as it ended up putting her on the correct path. Later, she invites him to dinner, and Lex enjoys seeing Tai-san jealous before flirting shamelessly with Trudy during the meal itself. Chapano, what did you make of the meal, Trudy and Lex, the subtle hints to the nature of the meal, and let's not forget the flirting and the kiss. Like, yeah, what did you make of the
Lex.
I mean, from her, I can understand it for nefarious reasons, you know, but Lex.
I don't know. It is Lex, okay, but it is Lex, all right. But I think in this moment, I kind of just expected better. I expected just a little bit better in this moment from him. You know what I mean? But he's still Lex. In the end, he will always be Lex. You know what I mean? And we see that throughout the rest of the series.
I know, but Trudy was like the one woman that he didn't look at that way before.
Well, I mean, come on. That dinner, the way she was acting. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
Trollop.
before he didn't. Yeah. On purpose, absolutely.
Yes.
There's a lot of moving parts here, and I really do find the personal motivations of each of them very fascinating. We have Trudy, who, one, just wants to get revenge on Lex, understandably so. Revenge for a lot of things. This guy has done nothing but treat her like garbage from the moment she showed up in the mall, on the verge of giving birth to a child. You know, she'd done nothing to him, and he went out of his way to just torment her, you know? And then has the, and is the reason in her eyes that she ended up with the Chosen. And has, here he is, come to her and like, I didn't mean anything by it. I really was trying to help you and trying to apologize. And she has every reason to be like, I'm going to take this opportunity to get back at you. Just some petty revenge. It's not part of her mission, but it just feels good. She's in a confident place, and it's really easy to play that flirtatious role when you really don't care about the other person. And it can be a lot of fun to be the Sharon Stone in the room.
I'm sure she's having a blast.
She's loving it,
Oh.
And she's not interested in him. So it's really fun to play this role. Just to get back at him, knowing he'll fall for it anyway. Because
because it's Lex.
Because it's
Lex. And so I get where Trudy's coming from, just that power. But again, it's on a petty level. She's not doing any permanent damage to anybody, And then you have Lex, where, he's being Lex. Let's remember, Lex came from a place where he had one girl trailing after him, thinking the world of him. Like, if nothing else worked out, Zandra wanted him more than anything in the world. He felt like a big man with Zandra on his arm. She was beautiful. She was different than the other girls. She kept herself really nice. She was she was an accessory he enjoyed having. And then she was gone, and Lex was a loser, like the biggest loser ever. Nobody liked him. Nobody respected him. Nobody was enamored of him except Alice, who's his friend, but he doesn't feel that way about her. And suddenly he feels on top of his game. Tai-san, the girl who got away, is back in his bed and actually likes him again. He's feeling good. And here's Trudy, receptive to his apology. Of course, Lex is going to be like, look at me. I'm the big man on campus again. I haven't felt this in ages. I'm gonna flex this. It feels so good. This makes sense that he would lean into it. She's jealous. Tysan's jealous. That feels so good to Lex. Like, oh my gosh.
To be honest, it was hilarious to see that. I mean, I know I'm evil, but it felt good to see Tysan jealous.
That's really cool to see her reach a point where she felt that emotion for the first time.
And to actually show the emotion.
Right. She'd never had that before. Season 1, Zandra even called her out for being jealous, and Tysan was like, no. I seriously couldn't give a damn about that guy. I wish you all the happiness in the world. You know what I mean? And for the first time, she's like, oh, this is what it feels like. I don't like this. This is not enjoyable.
See, I get the whole Lex soaking up all this and feeling like he's on top of the world at the moment, but to try it on with Trudy, I don't know. Like the moment that even for Lex, I feel like this is like, okay.
Alrighty then.
I wonder if he just wanted to know if he could do it. Like, I wonder if he was just enjoying the game.
He might have been.
You know? Like, you know, she's being so sultry, you know, and he's like, wow, this is awesome. Because he's not really offended when she turns her head, which tells me he wasn't that invested in it. It was a game, and he enjoyed playing it with her.
Not just on that part, I think, because he knows he's got Tysan in the back. It was, I think, he didn't mind it. But I think it would be different if he didn't have.
So you had two people who weren't that invested in this going anywhere, but they were enjoying the play with each other for different reasons. But yeah, it's just they were both enjoying the game.
Yeah, Trudy was loving it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, the chance to get back at the guy who wanted to throw you out while you were giving birth, the guy who you kind of feel is responsible for the death of your baby daddy, and all the things he did after.
I think Lex is enjoying the idea that Tysan is jealous because, again, Tysan was the girl he couldn't win before. She didn't care about him. And so here she is, straight up told him, yes, of course I'm jealous. That made him feel good. Like, oh my gosh, her of all people is scared she could lose me. I'm really loving this, you know. And even, you know, when Trudy turns her head, his reaction is just like, fair enough. I just wanted to see if I could get in there.
Game over.
Okay, you win. Fine. Have a nice night.
Yep.
It's like role playing with your partner where you pretend to pick each other up at a bar. You know, you just want to know that your partner would still put all that effort into getting you again, you know? And so, yeah, I just think that's what it is. It's just playing a game for the two of them. And it feels really good to be in that position. Trudy, mainly because it's the first time for her, and Lex, because it's been a long time since he's been had this advantageous of a position as a male.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, if Trudy was fully game, where do you think it would have ended? Would Lex have gone all the way, even knowing what was developing with Tysan? What do you think?
I don't know. Well, it's hard to know right there. To be fair to Lex, I do think that if Trudy actually was game and was actually receptive to him and not, you know, just playing with his emotions, I think Lex would have gone in for that kiss. It might have turned into a makeout session, but there is a possibility. There's two ways it could have gone. Lex would have, you know, run home and then regretted the game, be like, oh crap, you know, she made an offer I couldn't refuse. You know what I mean?
I'm so sorry she came on to me. It wasn't me.
Oh my goodness, what am I going to, you know, I fell into my old ways. Or he would have stopped himself in the middle of that makeout session and realized, I don't actually want this. It could have gone one of those two ways. I can't tell you which way it would have gone, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Would he have stopped? Would he?
I'm just saying there's a fair chance he might have, because again, he's not upset when she doesn't accept the kiss, which tells me he wasn't that invested in this going anywhere. He was just enjoying the ride. So I think that does speak to him not taking the ride all the way to Gainesville, if you know what I mean. just knowing he could take the ride.
Yeah.
That's okay,
And then
that's
be
fair.
like, you can leave me at the gas station. I don't actually need to go there. I just needed to know you would take me there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
We see later that Lex doesn't have too much trouble with infidelity, so
Right.
he'd feel guilty about it, but he might have done it.
Well, he has issues with it if it's someone doing it to him.
Oh yeah, of course. He's, classic misogyny right there. But Lex also still believes that this is just the way guys are. That's how he defines it. He believes wholeheartedly from his chest, men can't help themselves. We are built this way. That's the way we're supposed to be. Women aren't supposed to be this way. So he really does believe that crap. Like, well, I couldn't help it. I'm a guy. But you're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to help it because you're a girl. He's wrong, but he believes it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the other love triangle thing.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
Square. The square.
Yeah, it's a square now, isn't it?
Square.
So after another close call at the hotel, Jack and Dara return to the mall for the party, and Jack instantly becomes jealous of Ellie's connection with her. And later on, Ellie and Dara tease him about his jealousy before Ellie reminds him he is the one she wants. So, Pamela, what do you make of, as you mentioned, this square between Jack, Dara, Ellie, and Wolf?
I would probably be jealous too. Like, look at how easily she, and she just gushes about Wolf. And Jack is a jealous person as is, right?
Secure.
Yeah, he's very insecure, especially with his relationship with Ellie, because Dal's already there, right?
Yeah.
The teasing at first, okay, I was like, well, this isn't nice, and then the way she ended it, I was like, well, that's kind of cute, but I don't know. It's just, Ellie, she's so fickle. She is a.
I kind of felt bad for Jack.
I did. That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand why he reacted the way he did. Absolutely. I feel like he probably could have been even worse. We've seen him worse, I think, with his supposed best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I often feel like Ellie is trying to prove a point to Jack, especially given how young she is and how immature she is. But Ellie has been raised to be an independent woman, and she sees her sister emulating that.
Yeah.
And you're not owned by a guy. You don't let a guy dictate what you do. And I feel like what she tries to do with Jack, I'm not saying it always lands what she's trying to do, but I do feel like this is what she's trying to do, is like she wants Jack to respect her autonomy, respect her as his partner, respect her independence, and that means going out of her way to admire another person, to remind him, you do not own me.
Yeah.
I'm with you because I want to be, not because I need to be. It's my choice to be with you. You need to be secure with that being my choice. And I'm not saying she always lands this, but I do feel like that's what she's trying to do a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's what she learned from the women in her family. Like, Jack, I'm not going to stop spending time with this guy because you're possessive and jealous and insecure. I like him.
Yeah.
I enjoy his company. I'm going to praise him to your face.
Yeah.
And then she throws him a bone. He's all those wonderful things, Jack, but he's not you. Get over it. I like you. Again, she doesn't always nail this, because sometimes you could almost say she's poking the bear in the zoo by preying on her partner's insecurity. But I don't think she's trying to prey on his insecurity so much as she's trying to make sure she has those boundaries for them with him. Like, yes, I will spend time with this guy. I will praise this guy. I can think the world of him. I'm still your girlfriend. Don't lose sight of that, Jack. You know what I mean? I'm choosing to be your girlfriend. Get over it, and it does feel, it doesn't always give you a good feeling, because I don't think she's very good at it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, but I'm like, sometimes you push it, Ellie. Sometimes. I'm I get it. Jack is a pain in the butt, but, sometimes you're
being mean.
Sometimes you're pushing it, sweetie. Because I've done that, because I feel like I have to prove that to my partner as well. Like, if you're going to be possessive and insecure and jealous all the time, I'll give you a reason to be jealous. Not the most mature response. It's like wearing that really sexy number after you've had a fight with your partner and they see you leaving the house and they're like, you're leaving wearing that? And it's like, yes, I am. And if you're lucky, I'm coming home to you.
Yep.
The Wolf is the one who gets the last laugh. Because here's Ellie playing games with Jack, and Wolf is playing her so hard.
Yep.
Oh, I almost feel bad for her. Almost.
I don't actually feel bad for her because she just trusted him so quickly, and I'm like, Ellie, I thought you were smarter than that. Like,
Yep.
so is it because he's kind of pretty? You know what I mean? Or is it? I don't know. I don't know.
It's the charm. He's likable.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's charismatic.
What does she say to her sister when Alice says, "How do you know it's true?" And she says, "I trust Wolf." And it's like, you've known him for 48 hours.
Exactly.
Ellie.
That's where I was like, I thought you were better than that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
But we've all had those experiences where we've met someone for a very short period of time, and it's like when we were young, and felt like, oh my gosh, I made such a connection with this person. I trust them.
Yeah.
Because we're dumb.
Yeah.
We're so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm giving Wolf all the kudos. I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah.
He plays his role so well.
Yeah.
And so likable. You know, he's so cool that I don't even care when I find out he's a spy. I'm just like,
yeah,
you can still join us. We have worse
that little
people
quip
in this tribe.
he gave Jack, about the scientist and the techie. I was like, oh, you. Look at you.
I love him so much.
I wanted him to stay.
Me too.
And it's
honestly,
not just
I don't
the
like
hair.
him, but I can understand. I can understand why people do, but I'm like, no, dude. I know who you are. I'm sorry. I have that pre-bias,
I don't even care that he's a spy because I'm just like, dude, we've had worse people in this tribe. Just
I guess there's Ebony,
just join the group. It's fine.
Someone.
You're not the worst person to be with us.
Not yet.
Been assaulted anybody, sexually harassed anybody, tried to kill anybody.
But he did a dang good job at his job.
Yeah.
Bang up spy, right? Good job.
It is weird though, once you realize that he's a spy, it's like,
well, yeah.
When you realize that he's one of the chosen, you're like, how does someone who comes across so affable fall for that stuff? Believe in that stuff, He comes across as somebody who wouldn't be in that ball, and yeah, because we see Trudy struggle with it, and he doesn't even have that kind of pressure on him to be a good spy, and yet he just does it effortlessly. And I mean, even if he failed, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. He could just run away. The chosen don't have anything he needs, Yeah. And yeah, he handles it so well.
Sorry, my mind went like I was thinking, is he like a spy sent to different cities and like so in Discord everywhere? Or was he just for this moment they enlisted him to?
He's Trudy's personal spy.
He's a freelancing spy.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
Like he's not even a chosen. He just he's
a hired hand.
He doesn't seem like a chosen member. It's like he's just for this spying thing. That's it.
Cool. They promised him a lot of food, and he's for hire apparently.
I don't like him, but he's an interesting character. He's definitely an interesting character.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and like, what did you make of that final scene in the sewers where he reveals himself to Trudy, saying it's time, and she takes off the veil?
It was great.
And becomes the Supreme Mother.
It was great, and I was like, finally, because now I understand why. She creeps me out,
It's cinematic gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic the way she comes out of almost out of the fog with the hood. It's so ridiculous, unnecessary. I love it so much.
Yep.
That's what makes it so great, that it's not necessary.
The Chosen, they totally have a drama club and their choir.
They really do. Like, did she need the veil? Really?
Yes.
The
how else would she do the reveal
of the Chosen? Jaffa is all over that. He was such a theater kid in school. It.
He was.
Yes. He's all about theatrics. Always. He's got to make a show,
I mean, it explains why he made them form a glee club. Come on.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of pomp ceremony.
I did like it, though. I love the whole... We all know it's not a good idea for Ellie to print the story, even before we know what's up with Wolf. You just feel like, wait, honey, how do you know he's telling you the truth? We don't know this guy. He just came out of nowhere. All that glitters is not gold, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And how convenient it is to have gotten this news. And it doesn't sit well with you. The whole episode that, she prints this story and they're passing it out to everybody and everyone just takes it as the truth, as a fact. We don't have to think about the Chosen anymore. Trudy, you're safe. Everything is fine now. We can all celebrate.
Even to the point of, Trudy, you're a hero.
Right, and that ending makes you realize why you've had that weird feeling in your stomach the whole time.
Yeah.
I knew it. It was too weird, too strange, too off-putting. And it feels like something they all kind of deserve.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should feel foreboding, and maybe it did once upon a time for me, but I can't remember that time anymore. I can only feel what I feel now as an adult, and I don't feel like, oh no, you guys, oh no, it's getting bad, wake up. Instead, I'm just like, here comes your comeuppance.
Yep. Well, because now we see them all as like villains now, like we see it from a different lens, I guess. And it's like, yeah, well, you guys were dumb. This is what you get. This is what you get for letting your guard down. They were just too excited, and how convenient, it was that she just got home, and now this guy's traveled from where,
The north.
And the mountains somewhere.
Up north.
The Chosen are gone.
30 miles that way.
All that research you did on the virus, and you wouldn't take anybody's word for it, And now this guy's here, and he's like, well, the Chosen are gone,
Yeah, because he bats his eyelashes. And
in the story, someone actually mentions as they're reading it, but like how? There are no specifics even in the story she wrote.
Right.
That means he gave her no specifics.
They're just done. They're
just done.
They walked away from each other. Sorry.
I saw them hold up a white flag. It literally said, we quit. Like,
oh gosh. And
I was like, he didn't even spin a good story, like with specifics. Like, I saw a fight break out. I saw them warring. I saw them get decimated by another tribe. Just anything, nothing. Just, they're over. We're not sure
dead.
how.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even just
I saw
the
his head on a
Guardian's dead,
spike.
dude. Yeah, like...
Someone burned their temple to the ground. Just anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, Sasha would have spun a really good story.
He would have, and he would have been the perfect spy.
It would have included fruits and veggies, feared animals.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, cool. On that note, brings Series 2, Episode 40 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and if you'd like to take part in future episodes of the podcast, do send us a message on our Facebook page, on our website, thetribe.co.uk, and also send in your questions. We'd love to hear from you. So we'll see you next time for episode 41. Until then, bye.
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 Bye.